everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the INFP and the ENFJ relationship. Yeah. This was actually a video request, so thank you for requesting it. Wish I had thought of it sooner. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the ENFJ, INFP romantic relationship can be a very successful one and one that works really, really well together for a whole host of reasons. They do have two preferences in common. They have the N and the F. So they have a similar temperament. They have the same temperament actually. They're intuitive feelers. So their differences are extroversion versus introversion and perceiver versus J. So they have a really good starting point because they're going to understand each other. They're going to be both idealists with a vision for the world, for the future. There's a soft spot to fall for both people. They can make each other feel quite safe in being able to relate to each other, express their feelings towards each other. It's a very warm place to be. I think ENFJs really look to the INFP, like in this crazy world that's so aggressive and so just rough sometimes. They know that when they go to that INFP that they can sort of let their hair down and just be themselves and find this very calming space to be in, and that feels amazing. That feels so good to an ENFJ because ENFJ sometimes their internal world can be a little chaotic, a little crazy, dealing with a lot of complexities. And so just having that soft spot, that nice place, that comforting person to go to, it does wonders. And I think INFPs also find a really nice place to fall with an ENFJ because an ENFJ is going to look at the amazing qualities that they have. They can be who they are without being attacked or criticized. It's just it feels very safe, I think, for both types. So let's talk about the great things about these two types. It's kind of hard to really find too many negative things about this combination because they can both be quite intense on a romantic level, and they like sharing with each other and really having that expressiveness on a deeper level. They both have deeply felt emotional values. They're going to support each other's growth and things that they want to do in life. They're both gentle, loving, caring people when it comes to each other and when it comes to other people. So they're gonna connect in that way. They are both intellectual types. So they're gonna like exploring and learning and growing and delving into different topics and intellectual pursuits. I think what an ENFJ would enjoy about an INFP is they're more comfortable with, generally, with emotional connection and depth. And they're not going to let the ENFJ wiggle out of that so much, because even though in an ENFJ's mind, they feel extremely deeply, sometimes they may have a tendency to kind of stay surface. They may not feel as comfortable delving deeply. They want to. There's something that's a little bit scary for an ENFJ about going in too deep with somebody, and yet they yearn for that. They're gonna be intrigued and love that as well, but they might kind of put up the brakes just a little bit, whereas an INFP is gonna feel totally comfortable with just going there. And they're not gonna let the ENFJ wiggle out of that, and that's good for the ENFJ. So sometimes it's a little hard for ENFJs to be as open as what they can be in their imagination. INFPs usually find ENFJs to be supremely charming. They like their expressiveness, their energetic nature. They find it intriguing. Sometimes they can even find the ENFJ to be really funny. Because of those two differences, J's and P's, I's and E's, they can really bring out the best in each other and help each other to grow. Now, ENFJs like closure, they like sticking to a plan, and INFP is gonna want a little wiggle room to keep things open. They're not gonna wanna seal the deal all the time. An INFP may need more space than an ENFJ does as far as that introversion goes. They may need some time to rejuvenate. But ironically, I have found some INFPs to be like, turn up, like, hey, everybody. It kind of depends on what their love language is. If an INFP is quality time, they're gonna wanna be around people. They're gonna be, want to do get-togethers and be around people, and they're gonna soak that up. Whereas if an ENFJ is not quality time, you might kind of start to see the opposite. Like, don't bring those people over here. Let them stay home. An INFP might think that an ENFJ is way too concerned with appearances, whether it's how the house looks, how they look, whereas the INFP might say, I don't have time for that. I don't care about that. However, I have known a couple of INFPs who really like to dress and really liked fashion. So, some things are just to each his own. Now, some INFPs might have a tendency to withdraw a little bit or retreat a little bit, and that can create an anxiousness in an ENFJ. But the ENFJ running around trying to take care of this, that, all of these different things that need to be done can be exhausting to an INFP. And so the more their energy gets amped up, the more an INFP might retreat and say, oh my goodness, I need a break. The trouble with these two types is they're gonna be so aware of feelings and not wanting to hurt each other's feelings that it might be hard to talk about some of the things that are bothering them. They could probably rely on that ability to read people and read each other to sort of take care of the job for them. They do need to come together every now and then and say, hey, let's put some things on the table and trust that each other is going to be there, that it's still your safe place to fall. And they can do it without criticizing, without blaming. They can do it in a very caring manner. An ENFJ needs for the INFP to give them praises, because as an introvert, you may be thinking them in your head and you might be appreciating it. But an ENFJ, being extroverted, they're going to need to hear that verbal feedback. They're going to want to know, hey, do you notice how much I'm doing for you? An ENFJ also needs to be careful not to nag their INFP partner about completing things, finishing things, doing this, doing that. Give them a break on that. Like, don't let that be your constant or your always mode of operation. I think sometimes INFPs may have an area of stubbornness that they're not willing to bend or yield on. But when it comes to your ENFJ partner, then you may need to yield sometimes. And be careful not to withdraw INFPs, because that can create a wedge in your relationship. ENFJs need to be careful not to become so controlling because they have all of these things that they need to complete and get done. That can become robotic, so you want to make sure that you put in that spontaneous time where it's like, okay, we're just going to go with the flow today. INFPs, I think, can be very expressive, and sometimes INFPs feel a lot more in depth than what they are expressing. They can become very poetic, and so why not try writing some of your thoughts down in a poetic way? ENFJs have to be careful not to put other people above the INFP relationship, because sometimes they will be a little scattered, and who needs help? Make that INFP feel special and important, and INFPs do the same thing. So in a nutshell, I think that this combination can be an awesome one. I would encourage ENFJs, go out there and find yourself an INFP. INFPs, go out there and find yourself an ENFJ, and I think you will have a very happy, healthy, and rewarding relationship. So thanks so much for watching. If you have a specific type that you want me to try to talk about, let me know in the comments section. I do read them and I do write back. Hey, thanks for watching. Bye.